Patricia. Good and tasty food is easy to talk about. Many Virginians find it difficult to talk about our state's historic past, though, especially when it comes to slavery. Thanks to Colonial Williamsburg for putting together a program to help us all understand African American history. So let's welcome Deirdre Jones Cardwell from Colonial Williamsburg, programming lead and actor interpreter. Welcome to the show there, Deirdre.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, great to have you. So tell us, Deirdre, what is the main focus as an actor interpreter there at the Colonial Williamsburg?
Well, myself, I'm a part of a museum theater department, and myself and my colleagues, we interpret the lives of people who existed in early 18th century. We've been focusing a lot around the Revolutionary War time period, but we've gotten to explore a little bit outside of that more recently. And for myself, as a Black woman, I portray people who were free or enslaved during the time period. And so we're trying to bring their stories to life, such as in programs like Created Equal, which you're seeing right now. All of those people that we were representing in that play are people that we portray on a daily basis.
Wow.
At the foundation. I was portraying a woman named Agnes, who was property of Peyton and Elizabeth Randolph. Legally, she was legally property. She was a person who lived, but the law had her enslaved. And wow. Sharing her story is just one of many stories that myself and my colleagues share at the foundation.
Wow.
Now, you all do the extremely important job of accurately portraying the history of slavery here in Virginia. Why is it so important that none of these facts are sugar-coated?
So when it comes to our history, sometimes it seems like because of education and because of fear, perhaps, because of lack of resources, because it is uncomfortable, like you mentioned earlier, there is a hesitancy that comes with sharing the history. I think sometimes people feel afraid or they feel ashamed, and there's nothing to feel ashamed of for us that live today, except for not learning from what happened before us. And that's for Black people, that's for white folks, that's for everyone. We all have so much that we can learn from what happened before us. And I'm really grateful that myself and my colleagues have the opportunity to share these stories and to really look at history. And I hesitate to even say that we do it accurately. We research and we do a thorough job at that. But I do not think that what I do on a daily basis does enough justice to the lives that were lived by enslaved and free Blacks. I do my best, but I have rehearsals, I have scripts, I have a rapport with my colleagues that makes it so that I have a degree of comfort in the work that I do. And so we try to represent the historical with historical accuracy, but authentic. It is a museum. It's a living history museum, and we're there for people to engage with us. Sometimes guests will say, "Are you allowed to say that?" Well, I'm here so that you will talk to me and so that you will find out about the perspectives of enslaved Black people that lived, or of whoever I'm representing, right? Because I can't speak for every Black person that lived.
Yeah, well, you mentioned something, and really quickly before we go, you guys interpret things that happened over 2 centuries ago. What are some of the impacts of slavery that's still felt in the 21st century? Really quickly.
Oof, okay, so everything from how we view beauty to how certain things are enforced legally, how people are viewed and presumed to be either criminals or not. Like, so much that happened from this foundation that happens in the 18th century, from who was legally 52% of the population of Williamsburg was of African descent. And people wonder, why don't people just run away? Where there was slavery in all 13 of the colonies, right. And where are you going to go to? It was a lot more complicated than that. So when you think about how entrenched the institution is in our lives, especially here in Virginia, there's a lot that we have to do some learning about our history so that we can unlearn certain practices that we're entrenched in.
Yep.
that is key, to unlearn these practices. And of course, we wish we had more time, but if you want more in-depth information about any of our guests, please be sure to visit our blog, Living 757, and your information was also displayed on the screen for others to follow. So thank you so much for being a part of the show, Deidre.
Yes, thank you so much for everything you're doing. It's so important.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Quincy.
All right.